could get another private equity to buy out their shares. You could go to the money and go to the market and raise money. A whole bunch of things, right? So your cost of finance, Apple is far higher. It's more than double. But you have much more money, less securitization, and definitely the biggest plus of equity manager on your board is management bandwidth. They bring with them huge processes and systems and scalability and ideas. So management bandwidth is really important. Yeah? Gee.
So, do you try to like shift from the more of like money and marks oriented type of school to like innovative and learning type of schools? And if so, then what was the response from students, teachers, parents, and everything?
Yeah. So we go to from passive learning to active learning. So passive learning is rote learning and mugging and stuff. Okay. And active learning is doing through field studies, case studies, group work, and all presentations, and being assessed by different tools rather than just pen and paper. Right? Both of them are important. So the mental drill. See what we did in India. The mental drill, we kind of blew it out of proportion. It's like elasticity, the theory of elasticity. When you pull beyond a point, it has to break. We took mental drill to that extent and pulled it and tugged it and broke it. Mental drill has its own space, so long as it's balanced with other stuff. So passive learning we have, so we call it the theory of behaviorism, where the passive learning comes. We added that to constructive learning, which is where you build on knowledge you have different ways of learning. It's a more 360 holistic learning, and we kind of balanced it. At one time we were able to only do it till 8th grade, because 9th and 10th you have to change gears and do board exams, right? And then paper and pen only matters. But thankfully, because I said CBSE is very, very progressive, they changed all of that. So things have really changed. I'm not saying because the boards have changed, every school has changed. There are still, we hope that every school will go to the next level, but it's a matter of time. But some progressive schools are really up there. Good stuff going on now. Hanji.
In your journey, did you have any difference of opinion with your employees, and if so, how did you handle them?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. I've been told that I'm a good leader. And I've tried to analyze that from the selfish need to hold on to what is good. And I think that one of the things that have worked for me is this. So here's my operation head and here's my finance head. Okay? And I definitely may have a different opinion. Now, I've tried to do this. If it is an operational matter, and if I differ with a man, I will still let him do it his way. Because here's the man in charge of my operations. If I see things going wrong, I'll pull back. At that time, I'll have an honest chat with him saying, at this point, we had a disagreement. I let it, because you're the ground level man running, I let you run at your speed. But unfortunately, this is not working. Now we have to change course and do it my way, or combined way. So, as a leader, the ability to be selfish, even he's working for me and my company. If I can actually detach from just Manjula Shroff and put my institution in front of me, no issues. It's when I hold on to, my thought becomes an issue. I've always ever put Calorx before me. And I'm like, these guys are fighting for Calorx. But I've had that mental clarity, which is why I don't get into that many, and maybe women leadership. Women don't have that much ego. I don't have to hold on to my viewpoint because of my ego. I do not. I'm extremely participatory. You don't have that in your genes, I have it. No, really. Women make great leaders because we are extremely participatory and have very little ego quotient and very high unemotional quotient, right? So that helps. Not to say no other ways. Bill Gates is not a woman, right? Steve Jobs is not a woman, right? For my story, it's okay.
And how did you manage to share your motto and your dream about building a school? Because in educational sector, when you have people, they have specialization in various departments. Hence, their thinking abilities changes accordingly. How did you manage to share the same goal with all of them and allow them to work with you?
Training. We had VMOs from day one. vision, mission, objective statements. And we would just pack people into rooms, 20, 25 lots, and train. So early days we were told this. We are teachers, we are not management trainees. They don't have an option to take. We have a training policy saying you've got to go through 20 hours. You've got to fulfill it. In that 20 hours, we started to help them think the way we want them to think. So training is a very critical part. And going forward, I realized that training plays far bigger role than just a VMO. But yeah, early days, that's the vehicle that we use to kind of get people aligned in a unit, in a single filed direction. Even today, a vision statement really combines an organization. If you don't have goals and visions, so think of it like this. You think of the Kerala boat race. You know how many people ride that little canoe kind of thing? Hundreds of people. Now, if everybody did not follow the same course and they rode the boats in different directions, think what would happen to that match. Your vision and goals are that. It aligns people in a single file. So every year, we have visioning statements. So here is a functional head. They have a say in the vision. They have a say in the goal for the year. It's not that it's a top-down approach. So when he decides, his team has to follow that direction. And then the vision of the organization. So we are rowing the boat in a single direction so we can win the match. Yeah?
Generally, when we start something new, we usually have a cash gun, and we have to select between quantity and quality. So, because there is a need to fulfill a particular target, but when we have a cash gun, so it affects. So, what do you generally do about that?
In education, it is fairly easy. You are inducting a kid at 3 years. He's going to stay with you for 15 years. There's no such thing as quality. What you do to the child is what's going to happen. There's one thing I never compromise on, is scales of teachers. I was very focused that if you don't pay well, you don't get quality teachers, you don't have quality education. That's the one thing I never compromised on. I may have compromised on air conditioning, on stuff like that. So if there was a requirement to compromise, I'd cut the corner for 2 years in a physical thing, than so you have to take your call as to what are the top priorities that's going to stand for quality in the business, and never cut corners there. And the others, which are like the B, you do that 2 years later, or whenever you have the funds, or when you already have the funds. Yeah?
Since you are born and brought up in Odisha, so you might have experience in what is the educational status there?
I studied there, yes.
Okay, so what can you say about the factors that prevented you from basing your ground?
Oh, basing my ground in Odisha?
Basing ground, or maybe if you have any plans of expanding to this, what will change this?
I'm spoiled by Gujarat. Gujarat is such a huge entrepreneurial space that going to Odisha is like climbing. I hate to say this and that too on camera, but I hate to say it. See, Odisha, the business environment is very different. Odisha, Bihar, Assam, Calcutta, all of that, the business environment is very different. When you've worked in a place like Gujarat, when you've done business in a place like Gujarat, your set of expectations are a whole different ballgame. So, not that I'm averse to going to Odisha, I haven't got an opportunity. We only go to places where we have local partners. But I haven't actively made any inroads to Odisha because I'm spoiled by Gujarat. Yes?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very
Thank you
much.
so much.